Okay, these are the topics I want to try to hit tonight. The two types of wells, some of the risk factors, and there's just too many factors for me to go into depth in 12 hours, never mind 15 minutes. I picked two. I picked air pollution and gas wells leak. There's some testimony at the end from a group of people from Athens County, Ohio. They went to Wetzel County, West Virginia, and visited and reported what they observed. They've been drilling down there for about 4 years. Ohio has the advantage of being the last place of many that have been fracked or had this happen to them. So we can look at Wyoming, Colorado, Texas, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and you can make your own decision if that's how you want your life to go or not. So there's a lot of information out there. Luckily, we weren't the first ones, and I encourage everybody to do that. Don't believe the evening news. Go online and find sites that are valid. Don't believe me, don't believe them. Go do your own research. Pick up the topics that make sense, that are important, and go do your own research. You have to. Don't worry, you're going to find the truth. Okay, conventional drilling, everybody's familiar with this. Not a big story here. This is a single bore, typically vertical. Drill a hole, go down into a reservoir. Sandstone's common or cavernous opening. And a lot of them are fracked. They've fracked these for 60 years, I guess, at least. So this is really common. These have been drilled and fracked, and they pump the oil out, and suck the oil out. And you've all seen them. They're relatively lower volume compared to the other ones. Like 80 to 300,000 gallons of fluid. And it's not much there. Pretty simple. You've seen these jack pumps out in the fields all over the place. They're non-intrusive. They just sit there. Cows walk around them. No big deal, real small footprint. Doesn't take much to put them up. And they're all over the place. There's 177,000 wells, I think, have been drilled in Ohio. Something like 66,000 active wells. So there's a lot of holes in the ground. The new type, high performance. This is kind of a 3D cartoon version of it. Okay. Each one of those vertical lines represents a well pad, and for this example, there's 6 wells in each well pad. They drill down 1 mile and 2 miles, depending on what formation you're going to hit, and then they'll go horizontal and try to stay in the formation. In our case, it's shale we're talking about, so probably the Utica shale. Drill those horizontal units, and there's a big process involved, and we honestly don't have time to get all of it, but they're going to perforate the pipe by blowing holes in it, pump the fracking fluid down in, goes into the shale, reopens thousands and thousands of openings that already exist, maybe opening some new ones. While it's in there, it leaves some sand behind it, some proppant to hold those cracks opened. That's the secret. That's what lets the gas come out. So you reduce the pressure up top, and the gas rushes out of into the perforations and up the wellbore and up, and then we have gas. It's way oversimplified, but that's kind of the process. The volume is much different. 3 to 8 million gallons, it depends on who you talk to. I've heard 2 to 16, not 16, but 2 to 10 million gallons. There's a lot more fluid involved in this. And that's significant because all of that water and fluid that's put down there, it's never going to be drinking water again. It's gone. And you've got to do something with it. Ohio has pretty much been designated the waste-taking state, the dumping state. We apparently, allegedly have the right geological formations underground for injection wells. I won't even mention Youngstown. So New York and Pennsylvania have to bring their frack waste somewhere, and they're bringing it here, and they're putting it in the ground under us. And that's intended to continue, and along with our wells. I think Ohio is slated to have like 10 or 12,000 wells in the Utica shale, just by Chesapeake alone. It's a lot of waste. I'm talking hundreds of millions or billions of gallons of waste. The slick water comment is there because the water has to be treated chemically. They add chemicals to it. When you have to pump that much water that far with sand in it, you have to do things to make it behave in certain ways. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm a geologist or know that formulation, but there's chemicals in there that are, some of them are bad, some of them are not. They're online. Do the research. Go to the EPA. Go to sites you can believe and look at the research. Find the chemicals. The industry says that they're pretty safe. The industry tells you they're listed on fratfocus.com, which is a voluntary listing of the chemicals. And it's not really what we wanted to hear, but it's there. It's one source. Those chemicals, I believe there's about 700 chemicals that have been identified and about 900 compounds, depending on who you listen to. You probably won't hear those numbers from the industry. Directional comment is obviously because they can control the direction of the well bore head. Supposedly they know the location of that drill bit within 6 inches at all time, which is phenomenal. It's great technology. A lot of control there. It's impressive. Many wells per pad. I don't know, I've heard up to 16. I don't think I've seen a Kirchner one with 16 wells on them, but you can put a lot of wells in one well pad. And they can drill out, I don't know, a mile, 2 miles. I don't know what the longest one is, probably a few miles now. But they can really go out a long ways horizontally. So you're in that shale, in that formation, fracking it and sucking the gas out. The gas comes out by itself, actually. Higher pressure, it's higher pressure. It's not a permeable formation. You actually have to force that shale open. It's a mile underground. It's already got tremendous pressure on it. And you've got to beat that pressure and force it open to get the probe in there. It's shale, which is another new component. We haven't done this before. Shale, not a horizontal shale well. So these are some things that are new. The combination of these technologies is somewhere around 10 years old. So it hasn't been done very long. And it's a pretty short amount of time to combine all these really new things into a process and go put it in your front lawn, back lawn, and all the places they're putting it. I got a few pictures of some actual sites, just to give you an idea if anybody hasn't seen one. This is in Pennsylvania. The rig behind there is the drilling rig. That's